Warning. It is the opinion of the Forestry Productions LLC and the Working Perspectives podcast that we should inform you that some of the language used in this recording could possibly be considered offensive. You have been warned, so if you decide to listen to the recording, then don't complain about the language. Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk to some real people about some real things, living real lives, doing real stuff. This is the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by jdub, Justin Richardson. And our guest today is the one and the only Captain Jerkbeard, Tom Lavelle. You can find all our content and all our stuff on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can also on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. And you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workperspectives@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe so my wife can stop yelling at me for doing this show. All right, jdub, are you ready?
I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. I think it's going to be a good one. All right. Well, speaking of excitement, this is the Working Perspectives podcast. Let's get this thing started. Let's go.
It's all objective to be effective by voicing societies. Working perspective, exploring your day and how you get paid. Launching a new episode every Tuesday. Your day can transform while we inform with new episodes available on every platform. So check out our vibe and how we get live. Then do us a solid. Share and subscribe. Would you share it? Would you share it? Would you share it? Working perspectives.
I don't remember the first time I met you, Tom, like where or when it was. I just know I remember I met you somewhere and I saw the Rocky tattoo on your forearm and the like blueness of it too, because my grandfather had a bunch of old blue tattoos I like. I was like, fuck, why didn't I fucking think of that?
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's beautiful. Because I always kind of wanted the what was the Pete? Remember he had that lady tattoo on him? Kind of always wanted one of those kind of silly things.
Yeah.
I saw that on your forearm and I was like, fuck, that is brilliant.
Oh, thanks.
Wonderfully done.
Yep.
Just a fucking beautiful, beautiful thing.
Hey, yo.
Great spot, great color. I was just so proud of it when I saw it. I didn't even know you. I didn't think we had spoken. I was just green with envy.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of the best ones going for sure.
I didn't have a tattoo at the time either. And I was like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
How'd I miss that?
No, it really, I mean, even Sly is probably like, damn, I wish I had that tattoo, you know, but either way, let me tell you a little bit about our guest today, Tom, Captain Jerkbeard Lavelle. So for those of you who might not remember, sometime last year, 2021, Tom had hijacked the show and then ended up buying the rights to the show and then ended up challenging me to a game of Mario Kart, which he lost. And now I own the rights to the show. And then he's been on the show. So all has been forgiven. But yes, he is my older brother. He smells bad and he can't read good. But no, he's my best friend. And, I've known him for a long time. And we've been through a lot of shit, and it's pretty great. And we're going to talk about it. So, Tom, can't thank you enough for being on the show, finally, as a guest. Some people never thought it would happen. But before we get started, I would just like to ask, what movie do you think is better, Godfather Part 1 or The Godfather Part 2?
Well, I'm always kind of an original guy. So I usually go with the first of a series. So I'm going to have to go with The Godfather Part 1.
Well, your answer is wrong. That is the wrong answer, and you're a bad brother.
There's going to be a lot of wrong answers here.
What about flats or drumstick?
Drumsticks, no question.
Barbarians.
You're a flats guy.
Take
Here's
your
the deal.
flats and fuck off, all right?
With the flats, it's you get the drumstick, you get more meat,
Yeah.
and it's cleaner.
Cleaner.
One hand. You eat it with one hand. That's
Dun.
it.
And have you seen the lollipops? Have you seen the dude? The lollipops are the gimmick.
Lollipops are good.
Lollipops are pretty good. Also, right? Like if you get a soggy drumstick, you can live with it. If you get a soggy flat, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute night. Justin, you have to agree.
Yeah, this isn't a discussion of which wing is shittier when prepared poorly. But yes, I do agree with you that a soggy, fatty, gross thigh is not delicious.
No, it's not. And it's not. I mean, it's just
I'll
not
take a
as
little
good
bite of
as
a
a
big-
stick.
I
It's
am
not as good
thighs
as a
over
drum.
breasts, though. I will say that. I like chicken
Yeah.
thighs more than I like
Dude,
chicken
breast
breasts.
is like turkey dry.
I'm dark
You know
meat
what I mean?
all day. I don't even know what you're
dark
talking
meat's
about.
The best.
Mm.
Dark meat is the best. Nice. And then Cheetos, Tom, crunchy or puff?
Crunchy.
Obviously.
Everyone's crunchy.
Yeah, dude. I could not believe Scott Keating was a puff boy.
He was
And
a ball
still-
boy.
Don't
Wasn't he a
bubble-
cheese
At
ball?
heart, I am a ball boy. I'm
Yeah.
a puffy ball boy.
You're
When
a
I was
ball
given
boy.
when given the question, do you like crunchy or puffed? In my head popped the purple topped Utz
Yes.
bin of cheese balls. I was like, I'm a puff boy. And
Dude,
I love
We
that.
should
die
make
for
a
it.
list of the shit you say wrong. Popeyes, Utz,
Utz is the correct German
You-
pronunciation, and I will have to be
Utz?
corrected on these fucking
and
show.
then library. You also say.
Yes, the library. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying the amount of shit that you say wrong.
I have a pretty ethnic looking beard. I can say things wrong. It doesn't cover my cheeks, and it really hides my nationality quite well.
Which is what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plausible deniability. Diplomatic immunity.
Diplomatic immunity.
Love it. So, all right.
Free
Well,
man.
Tom, thanks for being on the show. Happy we could finally get you on, even though it was a bumpy road to get here and took over, I mean, like, you know, a year and a half to book you. But because you know what? Actually, last week was 1 year ago when I aired you coming on and hijacking the show.
Really?
It was 1 year ago
Look at
last
that.
week.
How about
So
that?
yeah. And then because I get like, you know how you get the timeline updates of like this is what you posted a year ago, and it
Yeah.
was the Bob Quinn poster because he was the guest on the episode you hijacked.
Do you think when we do this, when you air this show, you can put in that little like 20-second clip?
Shake. Let
Kid
me tell
Salami,
you about
what's up?
This guy. This guy.
Jesus. Do you hear that?
Yeah, turn that off.
Jesus Christ.
What is that?
Dude, it's
What
gotta
is
be on
that?
your end. I don't have Spotify.
Bob, is that you?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is that coming from?
Dude,
Where
Just
is
hang
that
on.
coming from?
hang on. I'm checking iTunes.
all the good men gone and where all the gods? There's
the
a
fuck
street
is
like
that?
Hercules to fight the rising
Who is
odds.
Soundbar?
Who is that? You think you can keep me off this show? You motherfucker! You think you can keep me off this show?
What the hell?
You son of a bitch! You think you can keep me off this show? You son of a bitch! Shake! You think you can keep me off this show? This is my show.
Dude,
You son of a bitch!
This
show needs a hero,
Calling
and here I am. I got off the phone with Cheryl.
You
I'll tell
what the
you,
fuck?
You're violating everything right now. You son
there's
of a
nothing to
bitch.
be violated.
You son of a bitch.
I'm on the show.
You're not on the show. This
Here
is
I
not on
am.
the show. This
Here
is not
I
the
am.
show. You're not on the show. This is not the show. Shake.
Hey, Thomas
Shake,
Michael.
you- Shake,
What's up, buddy?
You bastard, Shake. You traitorous bastard.
What are you talking
Here I
about?
am.
Bitch. You
And
son
this
of a
is-
bitch.
Matt,
I'm gonna mute you. Don't make me mute you.
I'm
I can
trying to
kick you
turn
off
this
this
down.
show.
You can't.
You're muted. You hear that?
I'm trying to
You're
turn
muted.
them off.
Unmuted. I'm on.
Muted again.
Matt, I'm trying to turn
Mute
them
it
off.
again. And again. I'll mute you all night. I'll mute you all night. This is my show now.
Jesus Christmas.
You.
Now you calm down.
No.
You know
You're
who
gone.
I am.
You're gone.
You
You're
know
gone.
who I
Turn this
am.
show off.
But you don't know why I'm here.
I
The
don't.
reason I'm here is to tell everyone why I've not been allowed on this show. And you know why. Because this whole show was my idea. You stole my idea, you stole the show, and you want it to be your own. So I'm here to offer you a challenge. This whole show is mine. See that, Working Perspectives? I bought the rights to that. I own this. I own this show. So the challenge is for the rights to this show. If I win, I'll tell you what you do with the show. If you win, I'll give you the rights to the show. And I'll pay for it.
What's the challenge?
A live stream on Twitch. A match. Mario Kart. Who's the best?
Jesus Christmas.
You think you can keep me off this show?
Dude, that was do you know how many people contacted me that day? People don't know this. A little background on this is that Tom hijacked the show in January, right? And we sat on that till May is when I aired it, right? And Shake was still there. That was with Shake. And we were recording on Zencaster, which we recorded all audio at the time. I was awful. And yeah, it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. But it, it worked out eventually.
It turned. Sorry, I just found this out the other day. I've you know me. I haven't seen the old episodes of Shake. I just haven't. I wasn't there for them. I didn't see them. But I found out that I have met Shake previously, and he used to live with my brother.
Yeah.
I used to, when my brother would work and bartend all night, I would go out in town, get drunk, and then stumble into his house, and I would play his piano drunk at 1, and Shake would be fucking furious. And I never knew that was the same guy until like 4 days ago.
Really?
Yeah, because I met Tom Bowers and he had the Working Perspective hoodie on. I was like,
you mean Dave Bowers
or Dave Bowers? I apologize.
Yeah. No,
and he had the hoodie on. I was like, "Are you Shake?" And he's like, "No." And Brad was like, "No, it's the other kid who lived at the house." I was like, "Oh, the kid who yelled at me all the time." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
That's where I met your brother originally. He was hanging out with Shake.
Yeah.
I knew I'd met your brother.
lived
at some
together.
Point,
He
like,
lived in the-
somewhere else.
yeah.
They lived in Alan's grandmom's old house.
He lives
That
in the
was
Roses.
I couldn't remember.
You can get lost in the Roses up there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the attic. Dude,
Yeah.
do you know how many? I mean, dude, I spent so much time in it because that's where Bach's grandma lived.
It was-
I was there all the time.
Floor
Yeah.
to ceiling, covered in rose-petaled wallpaper.
Yeah. The attic. Yeah, that was. I
The
mean,
Rose
dude,
Room.
the weirdest thing
Lost in
is
the Roses.
the bathroom door looked like a detective's door from the 1920s. It had like the glass that you
You
couldn't.
can't see through.
You can't
But
see
you can see
through it.
light
You could
through
see
it.
a silhouette. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell? You know what I mean? I was like, this is dumb. But no, it was cool. I mean, yeah, no, Tom, Shake, nothing to do. I love Shake, love him to death. He honestly, without him, this wouldn't have gotten off the ground. He researched how to build it, and we got the formula going together. And it was more really him that did it, and he did all the early editing and stuff, and production and everything like that. So yeah,
good
I
man.
mean, no, he's great, dude. You should listen to. I mean,
I will
you
go
li-
back. I'm gonna ask.
You should listen to Burns' episode, his one, because that was the one, like, because we had recorded a show initially and the audio got corrupted. And I was like, shit, does that mean this isn't meant to be? And then the second recording we did was with Burn. And I was like, this show is going to fucking go. Like, I knew, like, after that episode, I was like, we got some. And then we recorded one with Shake's wife and then Jay Bowers and Pete and, Nick Gill. And, like, we just, like, then we've recorded, I think we've recorded every week since then. So, yeah, it's been, it is. But, knock on wood, we keep recording and I don't fucking do something where we can't record. So there you go. But no, now I just jinxed us. Oh, sorry guys, show's over. Just jinxed us. But no, Shake's a great dude. It was Shake, and then Shake was there from November because we started recording in November, and then till April is when he told me he had to leave. So he said, I'll give you all of April. So his last recording was the end of April. And then I had to like start editing, producing, and all of that, by myself. And then Pete came on, which was great. And then Pete did, he was a double banger like you, jdub. Then he had to leave. And then Justin, dude, you came in like what, 7 months ago, 8 months ago? Well, no, think about it. You came in September.
Is that what it was?
August or September. God, so you're coming up on a year soon too. Yeah, man, so long ago. God, it feels like forever. So much has happened since,
So much.
Now
We Tom's back allowed on the show.
Tom's allowed on the show.
I'm on the show tonight?
You're allowed on.
Oh, I thought we were just
We're
reviewing
just gonna
all your
talk-
old episodes. Oh, okay.
This is how we got here. You know?
Yeah. So, all right. So now that we've gone over,
keep going. What happened then?
No,
what happened
now-
next?
now
This
that
is-
now that we've reminisced about the lifespan of the Work Specs podcast, I do want to talk about something. For those watching on YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast, you'll see that Tom's background says the Tom Lavelle Show. So Tom is in the process of launching and producing a new show called the Tom Lavelle Show. There's episodes available now on YouTube. I've listened to all of them. They're great. I'm a subscriber. Fantastic show. But Tom, what's going on with this show? What was the inspiration for starting this show? And then what kind of hijinks you getting up to on the show?
Well, it's kind of evolving, but I would say that it's almost like a personal journal or something. And these things like pop into my head, and I kind of discuss them by myself and talk to myself and laugh at myself for doing stupid stuff. But it ends up being pretty funny. So I'm available on YouTube, TikTok at the Tom Lavelle Show, and on all podcast platform by the time this airs. So you can follow me on all that stuff if you are interested. Usually about half-hour show, and I talk about current events, and just stuff pops in my head. So I've covered everything from basketball shoes to Lent to mom taking mushrooms to my new diet and everything in between. I review movies and stuff like that. So they're just supposed to be for little clips for everyone to check out and hopefully find funny and maybe spend a little time on.
No,
I'm sold.
It's funny. You start I like how you always started off with a good tune, and then you give some history there, which is cool, and then you get into some different stuff you talk about. There was one you talked about where you brought up, when is it okay to hit a woman? Do you remember that story?
Yes.
So first off, I want to say there will be a link to your show in the description of this episode. So everyone click the link, check it out, subscribe, follow. It's a really good follow, and the link to the TikTok as well. But do you remember that story you told about?
I was working at the bar, and this lady came in, and she walked in, and when I told the story on the show, it had just kind of happened, so it was really fresh in my memory. But she walked in, and I had a full bar, and immediately I was like, this lady's kind of strange. And she walks in, she starts talking to this guy, and I assumed by the way she went up to him that she knew him. She talked to him like they knew each other, like she came in looking for him, basically. And so then she kind of goes away from him and is now then talking to someone else. And I said, So I went up to that guy and I said, do you know that lady? And he's like, no, I've never seen her before in my life. I was like, all right. And so then I go over to the lady, and she's now in a certain gap. I'm like, hey, can I get you something to drink? She goes, what can I get for $3? Or something like that. I was like, you can get a Rolling Rock. If you want a Rolling Rock draft, you can have one of those.
Nice.
All right, I'll take a Rolling Rock. So I get to her, and I notice most of her teeth are now missing. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. This is odd. And I wouldn't say she was super unattractive until I started to notice all those signs. She wasn't immediately walk in super ugly lady, but I could tell that, life had taken its toll. Yeah. So she's there, and she's kind of bebopping around to people. And next thing you know, I look over, and she's at a table with a young girl. A family was in there, and I think the mother had gone to the bathroom, and this lady went over, was now sitting with a 10-year-old girl and talking to her. So I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I walk over, and I'm like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And she's like, what? It's fine. She's such a sweetheart. I want to be, I'm like, hey, just come here. I want to talk to you for a second. I'm like, hey, first of all, my name's Tom. What's your name? She goes, I'm not on drugs. That's the first thing she says.
Well played.
I go, okay.
Very deceptive.
You're on drugs.
100. No, I knew that for sure. You didn't even have to say that.
No, yeah. Okay, good. I believe you.
That's what I say every time I get pulled over. They're like, license and registration. I go, for the record.
I know you were wondering.
Do you know why I pulled you over?
I'm not on drugs. That's not why. I'll tell you that much right now.
So I said, look, my name's Tom. What is you? And she goes, they call me Sugar. And I'm like, all right, Sugar. I'm like, hey, just stay away from the young girl. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Don't go near a 10-year-old, Sugar.
yeah. I was like, she's young. She's like, why? The mother's a sweetheart. Everyone's a sweetheart. It's fine. But I'm like, just do me a favor. I was like, you can go back to the bar. There's plenty of adults there. Just go over there and stay at the bar. Leave the girl alone. So she starts like kind of freaking out at me and like, oh, okay, I get it, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she leaves. And next thing she knows, as she's leaving, someone says, she goes, he's done or something like that. He's done or something. She says, he's like, oh, she just said you're done. So I'm like, all right. Next thing you know, there's people outside. They come inside. They're like, yo, this lady just drove off. She's waving a gun outside the window of her car. She's like freaking out. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, is she like, was it really a gun? Like, I didn't know if they maybe saw it wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, was it a cell phone or something like that? So then I'm at the bar, the phone ring, and she goes, it's a bartender. I've never been treated so poorly in my life. I've got 150,000 followers on Facebook. You are done. You're done. I'm putting a post up about you. Everyone's going to, and I'm like, all right, Sugar, like whatever. All right, I'll see you later. And so she hangs up the phone. Next thing you know, a guy comes in. The phone is like, yo, did you see that lady just go through the red light waving a gun out the window? I was like, no, I did not. And so then a guy from the gas station, this guy we call Scratchy, who does like all these like scratch offs, comes in. He's like, yeah, I was just at the gas station and this lady came in, she's waving a gun. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So now the phone rings again and it's her. And I'm like, hello, you know? And so she's like, I think it was like an accidental call. And so now I'm like looking out the windows for this car to come back. And so I call the owner. I'm like, yo, dude, this is what's going on. And so I was like, we got to go on Facebook and see if she wrote a review about me. So I went on, we found her on Facebook. First of all, I have her number.
Sugar?
But I forget her real name. But so we had her number because she called the bar twice. We had her Facebook information like on the thing. She had like 37 friends or something like that.
I thought she had 1,500 followers.
Yeah. No, like 150,000.
150,000.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And it was like something like she might have even said 2 million. I forget. It was a while ago. But so now, you know, I'm like looking outside, like, when is this? So I'm like, dude, like, I don't know what's going on. But I'm like holding we have like a little bat. I'm like, if that fucking lady comes, if she starts to come into this door, I'm laying her the fuck out, dude. I'm not fucking around with a gun. Like, I'm going to kill this lady. And so that's when the question was posed is, when is okay to hit a woman? Because I like, and like,
fair.
She was like 60, I would say. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to like.
You had dirty blonde hair? I
just said to her, I'm like, am I really about to kill a 6-year-old woman? You know, like, what is happening right now? So that was a Sunday afternoon.
Did she have dirty blonde hair, Tom?
I think she had brown hair.
Oh, okay.
Why
did you ask that, Justin?
Because a former guest of the show, Mickey's mom, was a prostitute named Sugar and is still alive and still running around doing wild shit.
Would she ever be in the Roxborough area?
I know she lives in South
150,000 followers. She lives in South Philly?
Well, do you remember her? Do you remember? I'll cut it, Tom. Do you remember her real name?
I don't.
Damn. So, I mean, yeah, if that bitch was coming in trying to shoot me, I would fuck her up. That's okay to hit. Is she technically considered a woman, or, is she just sugar? Like, what the fuck? But is that the kind of shit we'd be expecting to hear on the old Tommy Lavelle show? Or Tom Lavelle show, not Tommy. Tom Lavelle show.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff that I'm going to be, talking about on a regular basis. And like different funny stories, maybe some different, hot takes on certain things and reviews. So, I've always been told I'm kind of a funny guy, so I just started doing it. And I actually, I enjoy doing it. One day I just was kind of sitting there and I just said, you know what, let me try this. And I liked it. So, I think by the time this airs, I'll probably have like 14 or 15 episodes. And,
nice. How often does the show post?
Once a week. I put out an episode once a week, and then I put stuff out as often as I can on TikTok. I love doing the TikTok ones, or short little clips, and I kind of can take what I think is the best stuff from the 30 minutes and shorten it onto a little TikTok.
Yeah. No, dude, it's I enjoy it. I look forward to all the episodes. It's fun too. Also, I mean, I'll tell you this, and I hate to say it on air, but the number one deterrent up for this show is the length, right? Is the length of this show, which is number one deterrent. But also it's like a big thing people like because they like listening and it takes up their day. But for yours, they're like what, half hour at the most?
Yeah,
is-
usually around
yeah.
a half hour.
That's
quick.
about where my attention span is.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
the
My
show very
attention
much.
span is basically the TikTok clip, and that's
Yeah.
about it. So
Yeah.
you got about if it's good, you got about 3 minutes. But
crazy,
besides that, you got
too.
about 30 seconds.
Facebook just started a new thing called Facebook Reel. And
Right.
there's like on Instagram, the reels are a minute, but on Facebook, there's 30 seconds. So they're even capitalizing more on like, it's got to be quick and get it in. Even a minute's becoming like, I don't even post a 3-minute video anymore on TikTok. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. How crazy is that? The longest I'll do is a minute, you know? So it's crazy though, but on Twitter, you can
They
do
started doing
whole
the.
thing.
Have you seen the trailer before trailers they do for movies now?
Mhm.
There's like a 10-second, like,
Yeah.
here's all the shit you're gonna see in the next 2 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
stay tuned. I'm like, what do you think? I'm a fucking goldfish?
You know what?
Yeah.
I
Like the
love
fucking trailer.
I like going to the movies because I put my phone away.
Yeah.
When I'm at home, I'm on my phone and I'm watching the shit, and I'm basically like catching little parts, but I'm on my phone. You know what I mean? Where I'm at the movie, my phone's away and I pay attention to the movie. You know what I'm saying? So like
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
enjoy going to the theater for, partially for that reason.
That's
Yeah.
a good. Yeah, I never considered that.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I notice it now. Like, I hate that like a lot of the time, like I try to post and ghost with all our stuff. And it's just, I hate I just hate that it takes it takes me like almost like to get everything posted out, like on all the different shit I have to post on. It takes like half an hour, if not longer. Right. And it's just the same video that I'm posting in like 10 different places. Right. But it takes forever just to upload and type and send and blah, blah, blah. Right. So it's like, I don't know. It does take away, like, especially if I'm like with my kid or something like that, like I do notice, like, it just sucks how much you're on your phone and like, it does take away from shit. I know that we had like a thing a couple months ago for my daughter where it was I hired a videographer because otherwise someone has to be delegated to filming it. Right. And it's like, who the fuck wants to, like, you want to enjoy the moment. You know what I mean? You never gets to enjoy the moment anymore because you always got to film it. So it's like, you know what I mean? I hired a videographer and it worked out pretty well. But yeah, nice. So, all right. Well, Tom, what else were you looking forward to with the old Tom Lavelle show? What day and time does it air?
I usually release the episodes Monday morning.
Nice.
Not really have a time. I just, before I go to work. So I go to work gotta be there by 11. So I would say usually before 11 on a Monday.
Nice. Monday mornings before 11. Cool. Nice little half-hour gimmick on YouTube and all podcast platforms. And like we said, there'll be a link in the description of this episode. So check it out. It will be good. So very cool. All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about the old Tom Lavelle show?
No, just if you're interested, give it a little check it out. I appreciate you letting me promote on this show.
No problem. We'll talk more about it later. Nice. So, okay, let's keep it moving then. So like I said, Tom here is my older brother. He was born in Fort Bragg and grew up in Simi Valley and Lansdale, PA, land of the free, home of the brave. What state is Fort Bragg? Is that in
North Carolina.
North Carolina. So yeah,
Born
our
and
dad,
raised up.
yeah,
Mhm.
my dad was in the military at the time when Tom was born. So he was born in Fort Bragg, and then we moved to California. You were there till you were 9 when we left, right?
Right.
We left on your 9th birthday, didn't we?
I
Was the last day?
think it was the day after.
Yeah, we had a big rager party. Tom had
It might have been 2 days after.
Tom had a massive party for his 9th birthday. Everybody was there, and he had a Super Soaker 200 was his birthday present, and it was a motherfucking killer. Like, dude,
That's
it was
right.
red
That
with
one?
the yellow gimmicks, bro. The Super Soaker 200 was a beast.
Is that the one with the strap?
I
For
think it
some
did.
reason, I thought it was a 2000.
No,
But I could be wrong.
No, because it
Dude,
went
the
50,
1,000. Yeah, the 1,000 didn't come in
because
till
the 50 was that yellow boy. And that
yeah,
was
the little
So
gimmick
the 100 was a 1 barrel. The
Yeah.
200
was
had
a
the
two
ball,
barrel.
right?
I think
Might
it
not
was
be
just
the
a
same
double
one.
barrel. I had an 85 too, which is a triple nozzle. It was a good gun. It was a good soaker. It was a good soaker. Yeah. The old Super Soaker. Super Soakers, dude, I'll tell you, it sucked. Like Nerf guns and Super Soakers back in the day, you got like 10 good ones out of it. And then it started to, some things started to break and, not do as good. But Super Soakers were the gimmick.
I left Black House inside of my Super Soaker 50 and ruined it.
But
Wow.
how old were you?
We were like 14 at the time. One of friend of the show, one of the wrestlers, big fan of Black House. Wouldn't like fucking stop like shutting the fuck up about it when we were
Black
very
House.
young. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Ugh.
disgusting.
Gross. So either way, what do you remember about California? Because I left when we were 7, and I really don't remember a whole lot.
What do I remember about California?
What's the age difference between you two?
18
It's
months
18
to the
months.
day.
Oh, look at you, Irish twins almost.
Yeah, how about it?
So I remember about California. It was you're just young and you're growing up. I remember it was cool. It was warm. I don't know. We lived down the street from a donut shop, which was pretty cool. What else do I remember? Disneyland. We would go to Disneyland.
We went to Disneyland all the time.
For real?
And,
How far
I
away
mean,
are you
Knott's-
from Disneyland?
Knott's Berry Farm. Also, we were like half hour from Disneyland.
Yeah, like closer than Darney Park,
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
You could almost
A little
see
bit
the Magic
closer.
Kingdom from your house.
D-
You went to the grocery
Disneyland-
store, you get
No.
close to it.
Disneyland was in Orange County, I believe, and we were in, I think Simi Valley's in Ventura County.
Ventura County.
So it's really kind of close. Yeah, but it's close, but there's like in Simi Valley, apparently there's like, 2 mountains that block it off, and there's really only one road in. So it can be kind of a biatch to get out, I guess. But I think it was like half hour or something to get there. Nothing crazy. That Universal Studios, Knott's Berry Farm. Bro, there used to be, dude, when we lived there, we used to go to this place. It was called Our Ranch in the mountains, right? That was the name of it. Our Ranch in the mountains.
Like
Right.
R, capital R,
Yeah.
Yeah.
ranch.
Yeah. So they'd be like,
So
where you
you'd
going?
rent
We're going
like
to
a
Our Ranch.
trailer.
Yeah, we'd rent a trailer, right? And we'd go up to Our Ranch, dude, and like they'd have like horseback riding and like
Matt got
like,
kicked by a horse.
I got kicked by a horse. Yeah. The horse's name was Miss Bucky.
He got kicked right in the foot.
Dude, I was like 6 or 7 years old, but I fucking I was obsessed. I still love horses, but I was like obsessed with being a cowboy.
Matt wanted to be a cowboy so fucking bad.
the most.
Yeah.
Because dude, we watched John Wayne movies all the
Yeah.
time. I fucking loved it.
And we would go. That was the thing. The parks were a lot cooler in California. The parks were like a lot cooler. Like there was a ton of like rocks. Like so there was a lot
Oh.
more like hiking and rocks, like rock climbing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so we would always go and like we'd be climbing these rocks, and our dad for some reason always had us climbing stuff like at a young age. Like we were always like up in this tree. I mean, I'm 8 years old and I'm all the way at the top of this fucking huge ass tree. He's like, just make sure you got 3 points of contact.
3 points of
on that."
contact. I say that to my daughter now, and she's 2.5.
It's a good move. Do you know the
It's
3
true.
points of contact? You got to at least have 2 feet in one hand or 2 hands in one foot at all
Yeah.
times.
3 points of contact while you're climbing. It makes,
Yeah.
Write
dude,
that down.
makes a lot of sense.
So,
but no, dude,
we
it
would do a
was-
lot of
yeah.
that. We went to school. Our mom was a teacher at the school. She taught 8th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in, first through whatever 4th.
I only went to
maybe
first
Natalie
grade.
was there. She
Yeah.
might have been in 5th. Natalie was in 5th, and I was in 3rd. That
Yeah.
was it. I had.
It was a Catholic school also.
Yeah, St. Rose of Lima.
Of
Of
Lima.
Lima. And
In California?
Yeah.
I went to St. Rose Lima in North Wales.
Hey.
Yeah.
And then we had I remember the basketball team, our basketball court was outside. We
Yeah.
had like an outdoor court. That was like our school court for
Dude, there
like,
was no
league
hallways either. There was
Yeah, it
no
was
hallways.
all
The way they
open.
built it is that there was like the buildings, right? And then you would walk outside and go to the classroom that was next door.
yeah,
There was no indoor hallways. Yeah.
because it was never too cold where it was like,
Yeah.
You know
They
what I
had the
mean?
doors open all the time.
but we
It's-
also had earthquake drills too. So that was
Yeah.
one of our drills, like fire drill, earthquake drill. And I
Yeah.
think you would just like get in a ball under
They
your
would,
desk.
yeah, they'd say like a door frame or a table or a desk or something like that. I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was, dude. There was like a lot.
We had a
of,
pool. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
and with a slide and
And
a
a
hot
hot
tub.
tub.
Yeah, and a diving board. We used to play a game in a tree next to the pool. Tom, you want to tell them the story
Oh
about the game?
God. All right. So, as you know, we said previously we used to watch a lot of cowboy movies. So, we watched a lot of cowboy movies. We were young kids, and so we came up with this game where we had a jump rope. We threw the jump rope over the tree, and then the game was you had it around your neck, and the other two would pull on the rope, and whoever could hold the longest by their neck would win. And
This
so,
is a brilliant idea.
when you were done, you would kick your feet. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm kicking my feet. So I think I went, and then Matt went, and then Alex
Yeah.
went. And when me and Matt were bigger than Alex, obviously, when we pulled the rope, we lifted him the fuck up. So he jumps up and he starts kicking right away. You know what I mean? And we put him down, and like not even knowing that like this is a terrible
Idea.
terrible idea. Like
Your
we
neck's
didn't
not
even
meant to
think
hold
about
all
it.
your
So
body
we're
weight.
like, all right, let's go in and get something to drink or something like that. We were just like, we're still playing, right? And so we go inside, and my mom's like in there, and she's like, what's going, like, why are your guys' necks like so red? And we're like, oh, well, we're playing this game where you throw a rope over a tree and you tie it around your neck, and the other two lift you up by your neck, and whoever can hold the longest wins. Well, she kind of freaked out. She freaks out over
loses
this
it.
game, loses her
Yeah.
mind. And we never played the game again. So
Do you know how much shit, like, now that I'm a parent and like I get so much shit from my wife for doing stuff, but like how much shit do you think dad got for like letting us watch the movies we watch, right? Like I remember getting in trouble in preschool for playing Rocky with kids, you know what I mean? And like doing the boxing thing and like all these like cursing from John Wayne movies and all,
that's
and
part of
fights.
it too. Our dad, I mean, we teach our kids not to hit, right?
Yeah.
Our dad taught us the opposite. He taught us to hit. And so it was kind of a weird, he's a crazy guy, man. Like he was like, army guy that liked boxing or whatever. And so next thing you know, he's like showing us, and like, I mean, I was 4 years old having boxing matches on our front lawn with this kid, Richie. And I was like, and it was just like, it was what it was. I didn't even think anything was wrong or different. You know what I mean? I'm just like, all right, yeah, I guess, dad, oil up my face so I don't get cuts, and let's get out there.
We would, when I was 6,
we had mouth guards in and everything.
Yeah. When I was 6 for my birthday, he got me like the full kit, like the boxing kit with the gloves and the headgear and like the mouthpiece and everything for a 6-year-old. And we would have like Boy Scout meetings, and he would have us all box each other in the Boy Scout meetings. And like,
and the other dads were like, it was like
they were down,
fucked up, like Lord of the Rings. I don't even know, like some fucking.
They were like happy
Fight
that we
Club.
were doing it.
They're like, my kid's not a bitch. Let's go see it.
Yeah. It was like kindergarten fight club or something.
Well, yeah,
shit
like
that.
It was because I remember because I would have to do it with you guys because I was too big for my like troop, and I would have to fight with you guys. So it'd be like you, and I remember there was a kid named John, and then there was a kid.
John was bigger.
Yeah, John was tall, but then there was
I knocked
Charlie.
his tooth out.
Yeah, there was Charlie Cicito, Richie Vapotapot.
Yep.
Right.
Anthony Campo.
Anthony Campo, I would have to go, I think, against Richie because he was like.
I fought Richie too. I think his dad was from Thailand. I feel like his dad was like into like, cockfighting or whatever we're doing. Yeah, kids are fighting great. This is great, Let's
like these kids need to learn how to punch each other in the face. 6 years old. Let's fucking go. Yeah. But it was like we would be in our
on the front yard, and we were on like
a
main street. We were literally, it was called Royal Avenue, and it was like it was basically a main street, and cars are flying by. And if you looked over, you saw 5-year-olds boxing in the front yard, and we're like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
So,
but it wasn't even just like a bunch of haymakers either. He made sure everyone did the same. We all did the same combination. It was 4 jabs and a right hand. Everyone had this. So it was like, I wonder what this guy's gonna throw.
There was that, and that was cool. Like we had a little community going on out there, and I played a lot of sports. A lot of soccer. I was on like the travel teams for soccer and stuff like that. And like Matt said, the day after my 9th birthday, we skedaddled. We rolled out. It was kind of like quick. It was just like, oh yeah, we're moving next month. We're going to back to Pennsylvania. All right. Not that they had to like discuss with us what was going on. But
Apparently,
one of the funny things when we would go to our ranch one time when we were coming home, my dad had to leave early because he had work or something like that. And it was like a 4-hour drive. And this is a 4-hour drive in a Volvo station wagon.
Yeah.
That it wasn't a great car. Like we had to pass around a handle to roll down the window. It was like there was one handle for each, like for all the windows. So it was like, hey, I want to put my window down. Let me get the handle. And it was like they give me the handle, I put it in the door, roll down the window, and like give mom back the handle. And like the water would like spit out of like
the
air conditioner.
And, it was my mom also with 4 kids and my grandma, who was like had gout,
60 something, diabetes, and you know all that other shit. So we're on our way home and we're driving through the desert, and so the Mojave Desert, and my mom gets a flat tire. And so she gets a flat tire. We're now stranded on the side of the road, and we don't know, you know, what's going to happen. It's the middle of the night. We're stranded on the side of the road in the middle of the desert.
No cell phones, no
nothing.
GPS.
And we're just stuck in this car. And
in the Mojave Desert.
And then I think my grandma had to go to the bathroom or something like that.
I puked. I got I had a thing where when I got scared, I used to throw up a lot. And it was like, so my mom's got 4 kids. One of them just threw up all over the back seat. And then she's
grandma's shitting on the side of in the desert, trying not to get pricked by a cactus or something like that. Alex is like 3 or 4, and like she like is in the car, and it looks like she's about to like cry, and she's just like sitting there, and Alex just goes, "Let's get the hell out of here." Like a 3-year-old kid. And cursing back then, like we were not allowed to say curse words back then. Like it was like a big deal. So everyone just kind of laughed. And luckily this like truck came by and they saw us, and then they got us like some help. And
I remember she took a towel out and stood on the side of the road and waved to
trying to like wave them down, to, like help us.
And then they had to get the tow.
Then a tow truck came because she was trying to change the tire, but she couldn't because she was on like the sand, and it was like going into the sand when she was trying to jack it up or something like that. So we were kind of stuck. So that's
4 kids under. So she had 4 at like by the time Alex was born, she had 4 kids under the age of 6. So at this time, if I'm 5, Natalie's 9, Tom, you're 7, and Alex is 3. So she had 4 kids under the age of 9. One of them is,
and grandma is 66 or something like that.
Yeah, she's not a mover.
But this is 1990, 66. It's old. You know what I mean? 66 was old. Now 66 is nothing.
But she was, and she had felt it. She was old, but
she looked like Goonies, the Fratelli grandma. She looked exactly
Throw
like
Mama
that
from
lady.
the train.
Throw Mama from the train. I'm telling you, she looked exactly like that lady.
Brutal. She was a tough broad.
She beat the hell out of Matt with a hanger once. It was awesome.
And then
he was throwing a pillow at me, and he missed me, and he whacked her right in the face. And she got a hanger. And
she went to fucking town. And then she died on my birthday. Fucking me and her never got along. And then she got the shout out Peg, fan of the show, listener to the show. But so Justin, I believe it's time.
It's time. You want some?
Yeah. So all right, everyone, right now it is time for the Jalen Dub question segment. Woo woo woo! It's the time of the show, everyone's favorite news segment, where Jalen Dub asks some random questions to our guest, Captain Jerkbeard, Tom Lavelle. Jalen Dub. What do you got for some question?
Hi, Tom. What happens when you die?
Wow. Love it.
What happens when you die?
Yeah.
I like the Keanu Reeves thing, if you've ever seen that.
No.
What's that one?
I don't know what happens when you die. The only thing I know is the people that love you will miss you.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. I have heard that before. Now you say it.
Wow, dude.
I'll take it.
I've seen a couple. He said one where it was like Drew Barrymore was like, I'm a lover, not a fighter. And he's like, no, because if you can't be, because if you love something, you have to fight for it. And I was like, Keanu.
He's like one of my favorites anymore, Keanu Reeves.
Love him. Dude, apparently he's like a good dude too. And black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I will say this. I think when you
He's
die,
legit
I
badass.
think your spirit will stay with people that you love. I'm assuming that maybe it's within them, and like that spirit is now like held on with them, and it lives on through that. So I think you kind of get to
Is it
stick
kind
around.
of like a Coco kind of thing?
What, like a cartoon character watching over or something like that? Maybe,
Well, no, like
I just
Coco, it's
feel
like they got the pictures, they talk about the people, they got the hacienda,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, but I feel like there's like different things that like, almost like you can kind of affect it, even though you affect someone's life, even though you're in the afterlife. And it might all be like psychological, but still I think that counts.
Yeah, that's true. You get a little bit of everybody who passes away.
Nice.
I hold them a little closer, even though they're not here. I like it.
Amen. What else you got?
Would you rather be on the Titanic or the 28th floor of Tower 1?
Woo, I knew that question was coming, and I still got blindsided by it. Woo!
What would I rather be on? Oh man.
And is it
Because
women?
there is a nobility in not making it out of either.
Is it women?
Are you not making it? Or is there an
The
option?
choice is yours. Like
Choice is
you
yours.
can
Also,
go down with
women
either
and-
ship. You can
Women
fucking
and
try and get
children
out of
first apply to both
Well, I'm not
situations.
going down with the with the fucking with the
I'm getting
building.
off the
You go down with the
fucking
ship. I'm not going down with the building. I got no I ain't the captain of the fucking building.
You're
Down
not the
the
fucking
stairs.
cello player. Going
mean, I'm
down.
I got some quick legs, yo. I could get down 28 floors, and I gotta.
Would
do that
you
pretty
like
quick.
hop? Right, like you like those.
At least at the Titanic, you're kind of cruising. It's like
You're, like,
maybe
alerted
some
to it.
luxury. Of like your last couple days were nice.
Yeah.
Instead of being at
Yeah.
fucking work.
a
You
good
know
But
what I mean?
still, you're in the middle of the ocean. So like there's not like there's running to safety. It's like you run to a boat and then you're still floating in the middle of the fucking ocean. Apparently too, there's like a Titanic museum, right? And in the Titanic museum, they have a sink there that they put the temperature of the water, right? That the Titanic would be. It was like the exact temperature of what the water would be if you fell in the water next to the Titanic, right?
Yeah.
And they said no one can keep their hands in there longer than like 10 seconds. It's that cold.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like unreal cold. Imagine an iceberg floating next to a fucking iceberg.
There was a man so drunk that he survived in the water for like an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. He was so drunk, and he's like one of the few male survivors.
Wow, man. Well, if Leo only knew, just tie one on, jeez. I mean,
Right,
shout
just keep
out.
feeding me alcohol, and maybe I would do that. Like either you die and you're fucking wasted when it happens, or your blood.
Yeah,
Can
you could
I
try
be
and push to get on
honest?
a boat on Titanic, but like it's a
Yeah.
scummy move.
Oh, if you're
Pull a
dude,
boat.
that's back when women and children
Yeah.
first was at an all-time high.
That's
An
back
all-time high. Yeah, if you broke women and children
I don't
first back
believe that
then,
at all.
Women were also men.
I think they say that, but I don't think that's true back then. I think now is women and children first, all time high. I think now you might have more people that identify as women or children, but
yeah, if it's women and children first, we're all fucking women now.
But
I'll tell you
so,
that.
I think they like try to live it up. But like think about the shit that you weren't even allowed to do as a woman back then. You know what I mean?
That's
and they're
why
gonna be
they let 'em
saying
go
women
first.
and children
Yeah.
first now. Oh yeah, these people that can't do nothing. Yeah,
she
we'll
can't
let
own
them-
property or
Yeah,
take over
no,
my will
no.
or my
You can
inheritance.
stay on the boat, honey, or on the Titanic, honey. I'll get on the lifesaver.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think children first, though. I think that would be no matter what. I think now and
You're
then
gonna need a
that's-
couple adults. You ain't gonna have a bunch of
Somebody's gotta watch
7-year-olds
those kids.
surviving on a boat.
They're gonna start boxing on that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Start fighting that.
Well, what would
boxing
you
on the
pick, Tom? Can I say this? Can I be honest? I've never seen the Titanic all the way through.
The
Never
boat
watched
sinks,
the movie.
a couple people bang. You didn't miss much. Billy Zane
Yeah.
looks great.
I mean, when doesn't he look great?
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really want to be on either.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. There's no right answer.
right
You gotta pick
answer.
one, Tom. You gotta pick one.
Well, do I have I guess I. do I
Your
have a
goal is to
better-
get out.
To be
my
honest,
goal
though,
is to get
also
out alive,
if you
then I
pick the
guess I go to
Titanic,
towers.
because if you pick the Titanic, then even if you survive, you're still living in like 1912 or whatever the fuck year. it was.
No, you get to go back to your regular time.
There's
Not
no
trapped in
cell
the time.
phone.
You're not trapped in 2001.
Internet. You haven't had,
No, there's a
dude,
lot of
you're still
community back
100
then.
years. You're 90 years away from internet porn. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, who wants to live in that world?
You're 20 years away from seeing an ankle.
No, yeah. All right,
All
so
right,
you're
you
picking
have
the
to-
towers.
You have
I'll
to
go
pick one.
towers.
You want more arms or more leg?
Whoa, baby.
You're getting
Arms.
okay.
How many more do you get?
I mean, that's choice is yours, but
Oh, okay.
you got to pick one.
Because 3
I'm
legs.
going legs all day.
Already got 3. Oh,
So if you picked legs, right? Well, I guess because if you did something like 6 legs, then you're climbing everything, and if you
You're
can
so
work-
fast. Imagine
if
how
you can
fast
work
you are
it
with 6
out.
legs.
are you
It-
faster with 6 legs or do you stumble more?
Well,
I mean,
if
at
you
least
if you
4.
could do it like a
That's a small-
cheetah, right? Like, what if you had 4 legs and you could be like a cheetah fast? Or like think
Definitely
about it like
run
this:
longer.
if you had 4 legs, you could be like what's a centaur? You know,
Yeah.
because essentially you'd
minotaur?
be half horse, half. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then you could be like the guy from Mortal Kombat if you had more arms, you know?
Yeah,
Bro.
but it's not like he has more D's to whack. You know, it's just like you still only has 1 D to
You
whack.
could cook a lot better with 4
But
arms.
you could get a lot more shit done, you know?
You get tight better. Yeah, you could do a lot more shit with 4 arms than you can with 4 legs.
Plus,
I'm
when you're
thinking
like
about the
doing
foot
like
speed.
moving or like if you had to like hang something on a wall, you got some arms to
Hold
hold
that,
something
hold
there.
that,
Where you're
hold
like,
that,
hold that while
hold
I
that.
measure real quick. You know what I mean?
I wonder
might
how
just
good
keep
you'd
adding
be at
more arms.
fighting. Also,
Oh yeah, you go
know?
lower body. You go low left body and high right
You'd
head.
be really
Never
good. They
stop
couldn't
you.
stop all the where the punches come from.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? If they're guarding their face, you're punching their body. You know, there's nowhere to.
Yeah.
And you got 20 fingers now,
Yeah.
and that's just great. All right, how many Sports Illustrated swimsuit models could you beat at a fight in one time?
Hmm.
And this is topical because we talked about hitting women earlier.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I guess it depends on the
Do you get a
swimsuit
weapon?
model.
We'll start from like 1989 to like 2001.
Isn't there a big? Didn't a big girl?
There are a lot of
make
tall
it?
broads in there.
Didn't
Yeah.
a big girl make?
Yeah,
it
that's
a
like
couple years?
that's like 2019. We're not going. I haven't seen
Alright.
Sports Illustrated model since.
You're
porn
talking
was
like
invented on the internet.
Kathy Ireland.
Yeah.
right?
How many Kathy Ireland and Brooklyn Decklers you think you could beat up at once?
Oh my God, Brooklyn Decker.
How many Heidi Klums you think you could bench press?
Dude,
Oh.
how many? Dude, where is? Let's see, Kathy. I'm looking her up.
Is she alive? I mean, I guess she
Yeah.
is, right?
I
an
would
I haven't
American
thought about her
say-
since 1992.
I don't
Dude,
know.
she
Like,
was
if
in
I were to get a
Hot
hold of
Shots
one,
Part-
like if I
Do
were
you-
to knock one out quick, that would help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the more you get down quick, because they're not like if people always
And like
ask
we're
this
talking
fucking
like
stupid
fight to
question-
the death.
Yeah, like arena style, like you gotta, they're gonna keep coming until you
How
put them
big of
down.
how big of an area do
We're
I
in the
have?
Coliseum. It's like what people say with the chill. Like, how many 5-year-olds could you fucking murder at one time? It's like you're in the Coliseum. We're gonna start throwing in swimsuit models at you. How many until you?
Oh, so I
fucking-
fight one at a time?
No.
until-
We let them out. We open one door and they start flooding out, and you
What
can
was the
take as many
movie?
as you can
Oh,
take.
Necessary Roughness.
I don't
Kathy
know.
Ireland was the kicker.
I'd have
in
to see their
Necessary Roughness.
sizes and stuff like that, but
They're gonna
maybe
be like 5'8" and plus.
maybe 3,
These aren't gonna be short women, but they are gonna be slight in weight.
3 maybe. But I'd have to take one out like quick.
Yeah, that's the thing. They are lanky, so they can't just take you down. 2 of them at once, it's going to be hard to prevent a shoot from. I also don't think they're going to have very much athletic ability, but it doesn't matter. The size is going to get you.
But my blows are gonna be like,
Devastated.
I'm gonna be devastated, trying to at least,
Man, Kathy Ireland smoke. I wonder what she looks like in.
What kind of height and weight you got on Kathy Ireland from back in the day?
Yeah, what's the height? What's her reach?
Yeah, what kind of reach she
Let's
got?
look her up. She is.
Because I could take like 15 clunes, but Ireland's, I
She's
don't know.
5'10", it says. Kathy Ireland's 5'10". Damn. And she's 59. Oh, okay. So any more questions, Jalen Doe?
No, that's all the questions I have.
All right. Well, that was
Nice
another
questions.
rousing Jalen Doe Hoops random question segments. Love it. If you have any questions you want to send into the show, then tweet us at Working P Pod with any questions you might want to hear from old Jalen Doe Hoop. All right, so let's keep it moving. So we left California and moved to the land of the free, home of the brave, Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Tom, what was one of the first things you thought when moving to Lansdale, PA? I'll say this, is that when I did live in California, when we did live there, I never really felt like I never felt like in place. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like I fit in more on the East Coast, and I felt like, I don't know, like I felt like I didn't have a ton of friends, and you know what I mean. I wasn't into it, and
There's more pale Irish kids here.
Well, we lived on a busy street too, which sucked. So like you couldn't like go out. Like we had to like stay in our house all the time, and our neighbors were kind of weird. So we, so I don't know. But I feel like I don't know, man. I don't know. I felt like we moved here, we didn't live on a busy street, we could ride our bikes everywhere, and it was a fucking blast. But what did you feel when we first got to Land of the Free, Home of the Brave, Lansdale, PA?
I guess I didn't really know. I just was kind of excited about it. I think, like that we were moving somewhere else. It was cool.
What time of year was it?
But we moved in the summer.
Because this would be
my birthday's June 29th, so we moved like the 30th, I guess.
This would be both of yours first winter ever.
Right. I remember we had seen snow. We like gone up to we drove to
there's snow in California. Yeah.
And did our dad took us fucking sledding, and we ended up in this like blizzard. Legit blizzard, and we're like stranded in this fucking so crazy. My sister almost ran into a tree. My dad like dove in front of the tree, and my sister hit him instead of the tree or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, she's also an idiot.
Yeah, we were sledding in between trees. Dad
it's the only good hill we could find.
Yeah, it's a good hill. You just got to dodge these trees, all right?
In Scranton, we sledded in between trees all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not sledding between trees. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Another thing too, before we get off of California, we were out there, and my Aunt Linda came out to visit us. And so she came out to visit us, and she said, I want to have my day with all the kids. I want to take them out. I want to have a day with each one of the kids, whatever they want to do. Right. Yeah. So she goes to me, Tommy, what do you want to do for your day? And so, like I said before, I was on a travel soccer team. A big thing would be when we went to Chuck E. Cheese. We won a tournament, and they said, hey, if we win this tournament, we're going to all go to Chuck E. Cheese. And it was like a big deal. We went there, and when you're there with all your friends, Chuck E. Cheese can be a pretty great place. So I was high up on Chuck E. Cheese, and I said, I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Plus, I was really into, I was competitive, and there was an air hockey table there. And so I thought, all right, this is great. I'll get to play an adult at air hockey, and I'll get some real competition because I was pretty good at it. So we go to fucking Chuck E. Cheese, and when you're not there with any of your friends, it is kind of lame. And so you're there with your Aunt Linda. Next thing you know, I'm like, all right, let's play some air hockey. And she really didn't want anything to do with it. She's like, we were playing, and she was letting me win. And I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. I was hoping I was going to get some competition here. So then it was all right, when's this going to be over with? Then we go to the thing. We have some pizza. She got me a Chuck E. Cheese doll, and we head home. Great day, right? That was nice. Thank you so much, Aunt Linda. 2 days later, I'm sitting in the living room, and I'm watching some TV. Next thing you know, Matt comes running in the front door. And what is Matt wearing there, J-Dub?
Oh, wow.
Mickey Mouse.
Oh, he's so much smarter.
Mickey Mouse ears. She took him to fucking Disneyland.
Yep.
She took him to Disneyland, my other brother to Universal Studios, and my sister to Venice Beach. And I went to fucking Chuck E. Cheese. It was a mile away from the house. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, what the, what's going on? Oh, we went to Chuck E. Cheese. And my mom's like, well, Tom, you could have gone wherever you wanted to go. And I'm like, Mom, I didn't fucking know Disneyland was on the table.
I'm old enough to know that
what
things cost money.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, Disneyland is a special place. It's once a year you go to fucking Disneyland if you're lucky.
It was awesome.
And so I'm sitting there and then she threw the dagger, and this was the dagger, J-Dub. She goes, Tom, you could have done anything. You could have you could have gone to the mall and had her buy you a bunch of video games if you wanted to. And that crushed me because I knew
so much better.
The video games were months of, you know what I mean? It wasn't just the day. I'd have a bunch of games, and I could play all the time. And I was just so fucking pissed off. Not a heads up from my aunt, not a heads up from my mom. Hey, Tom, I know you really like Chuck E. Cheese. I know you think it's cool, but you could go to Disneyland. You could go to Universal Studios. You could buy 10 video games if you wanted to. Fucking bitch.
Yeah.
It's also because you went first.
Disneyland was
awesome. Why did I even go first? My sister was older than me.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Sense
that's how they got you, because
that
you set the precedent. You're like, all right, take me to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
It's not that far away. We'll have fun. And then they're like, take me to Disneyland. You're like, fuck, I could have said that.
Yeah.
No,
Disneyland was great. I remember.
I'm not a selfish prick.
Cafe,
you know what I mean?
Went on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride 100 times. She got me the hat. I got a gun that Dad made me get rid of because we weren't allowed to have guns as a kid, but then we were allowed to have guns. Awesome. Yeah. Big fun. Loved it. Great day. Shout out Aunt Linda, fan of the show, listener of the show. So old Aunt Linda.
Shout out Aunt Linda.
So all right, well, very good. So now we are in Lansdale, land of the free, home of the brave, Lansdale, PA. We get here. What was your first impressions of life on the East Coast?
It was
Couple East
cool.
Coasters.
Like, it was different. Our cousins were over here, so we had like family over here. So that was initially like kind of cool. Like we were
Yeah.
gonna be hanging out with our cousins, and we moved into our Aunt Kathy's house at first, which is like not a big house. I want to say it was like a 3-bedroom, maybe 1.5 bath.
Yeah.
And there was
Yeah.
like us living there with that. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
And so we were living there for a little bit, and then we finally, I guess, settled on the house, and we moved into our house. And I remember the first night sleeping in there and like being like, excited. Like it was like, wow, this is a new house. Like, what are we gonna find in this house and stuff like that. And we had like a lot more like freedom in this new house. Like we could go in the neighborhood and like do what we wanted to do. It wasn't like you had to stay in this like fort that we had in
before we had
California.
to stay in like the yard. Like we couldn't be going out anywhere.
Now there's like a park down the street that we could just walk to the park or like the field. And then there was like, we had a big yard that we can run in, and we could ride our bikes on the street without being worried about getting hit by a car. And so like that was all cool stuff. And then we went to introduced to Catholic school in PA, where the uniforms were much different. You had to wear a tie, and my sister had to wear a jumper, which she lost her mind about. Like that she had to wear this jumper. Like it was the worst thing ever. And I remember when we went to school initially, the first thing that I remember, curse words were a lot bigger out here than they were in California. It was
Everyone
like right
was
away in the
slanging the
schoolyard.
curse
It was like,
words.
whoa, like what are these kids saying?
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
Yeah, we had a guest on the show previously that formed their own cursing club, and it seemed like the whole East Coast was the cursing club.
Some of the curse words, I didn't even know what they were saying. I was like, what is that?
What's a jag off?
Yeah, wow, that's pretty cool.
Fucking bum.
Yeah. And then there was like, definitely when you move to Pennsylvania, like near the Philadelphia area, there's definitely like more of a passion for a lot of things, but like especially like sports and stuff like that. Like out there, it was like everyone's a casual fan. There's no like real like diehard. Here it's like just like as soon as we got here, it was like we hate the Eagle or we hate the Cowboys. Like we love the Eagle. Like it was like, whoa, what's going? Like, all right, we hate the fucking Cowboys. All right, whatever,
That's what everybody said. Yeah, right away they were just like that. Like you were hit with that. I was like, they were like, "Who's your football team?" I was like, "What? Don't you guys play soccer? That's what we played in California. It was soccer, right?" Everyone plays soccer. Yeah, you didn't know what they didn't talk about. Like, I mean, football just wasn't a thing. Well, it was a thing, but it wasn't like over here where it's like legit a religion that everyone has to praise on, no matter what. Yeah.
We watched like the Super Bowl, and that was about it. You know what I mean?
That. I don't even remember that.
We weren't like raised with the team or anything like that.
It wasn't like there was football on every Sunday back then,
No.
like we didn't have that. Yeah. But no, I'm with you. It was, I don't know. It was. But I remember too, another thing, when I remember being a kid in California, when you sang Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? And they would like, on that part where they're like, they never let me play any reindeer games, right?
Like
and then,
Monopoly.
Exactly. In California, they would say, like Monopoly. But here, they said, like football, right? And I was like, oh, wow. Look at that. Yeah. Crazy. I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. It was a little, I don't know, but it was a little more blue collar. I kind of liked it though. And I did like the freedom.
I didn't dislike it. It was just different.
Yeah. I did like the freedom of like,
And we were walking to school. Now it was like, okay, we're going to walk to school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Matt's 7. I'm 9. This is like we're walking to school. Incredible.
Yeah. The shit you get away with back then. They would literally stone you if you made a kid do that in those days. They'd be like, "Are you out of your mind? That kid's gonna die.
He's gonna cross the street by himself."
No, walking to school like 3rd grade.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and I was responsible for my brother.
Yeah,
same. Yeah, Alex was walking in first. He walked all the way first through whatever. Yeah, everyone walked to school.
It makes you a better person because, like, I have 2 younger brothers who are 10 years younger than me.
Yeah,
and they weren't allowed to do any of that. And you can tell.
Yeah. A bunch of pants. Yeah. It did, dude. It did add a little cut to your jib walking to school.
Yeah, you could die any day, and your parents wouldn't find out for like 7 to 8 hours.
Dude, I remember one of the worst beatings I ever got is when I came home without Alex and my dad. Like Alex told my dad that Matt didn't walk home with me, and my dad like lost it because he's like, someone could kidnap your brother. They could take. I was like, why don't they fucking?
They were big on kidnapping.
Yeah,
They're like anti-kidnap. Like we were gonna get kidnapped. Like
they would always
I
quiz
think
you
that
like
was a thing back in California.
Somebody offers you stuff.
Fights on the way home from school and stuff too.
That was I had a
like that was another thing, you know, like that wasn't happening in California. Like not even like there'd be fights, but then there'd be snowball fights and like a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of shit going on the walk
you're
home
free.
from school.
Yeah.
It's
so much.
cray.
It's so much nicer once you're free as a child. You're left up to your own devices. You learn so much. You have to find out from someone else what a douchebag is.
Yeah.
Plus, like
explain it to you. And you're like, I don't even know what a vagina is, but okay.
First half of our first year, our mom was home when we got home. And so she was like home when we got home. And then she got a job teaching. And then we were like on our own. We got home and it was like a couple hours before anybody was home. And we my sister who's 11, and then 11, 9, 7, and 5 just in the house for 2 hours unsupervised every day.
I turned 10 and my mom sat me and my brother down. My brother was 7. And she's like, now, instead of going to that lady's house that I have to pay money to, you're just going to come home and Justin's going to watch you. And Brad, my little brother looked at my mom and was like, what? That's a terrible idea. He's going to beat the shit out of me relentlessly for 3 hours until you get home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
A lot of that.
Please hand me a key on a lanyard.
Yeah, dude, that was the other, like legit. You came home and like, but if you needed to find like you were on your own getting rides places as well. You know what I mean? Like if you had like baseball practice or football or, you know, soccer or whatever, if you couldn't walk there, you had to call a friend to get a ride or see if you could bum a ride. You know what I mean?
We had a dude in the attic for a little bit and he had a motorcycle, and my mom was not cool like with us being on the back of a fucking motorcycle, but also she wouldn't be home and I had to like get places at fucking 10, you know?
Yeah.
So like I'd get places and get home and be like, how'd you get there? And I'd be like, Uncle Jim took me. She's like, how did he take you there? I was like, on the motorcycle. She's like, did you wear a helmet? I was like, do I own a helmet? How do you think I found a helmet and got a ride to football practice this morning?
Yeah.
Did you wear your football helmet?
Nice. Plus, too, your bike was your fucking. It was your horse. You lived on your bike. I loved it. But all right, so let's keep it moving then. So we're in California. We're in Pennsylvania. One thing they didn't have in California that we got into immediately when we got here was wrestling. And wrestling would kind of be the fixture going forward. So Tom had a really good wrestling career. He's a regional qualifier, which is a big deal. And he would end up doing pretty well in the old wrestling department. And then, well, you know, we've talked about that enough, but I want to get into some work stuff. Well, what do you want to talk about for wrestling, Tom?
It's tough because I'm torn on wrestling. Like, I did not like wrestling. I didn't want to do it. I didn't really like wrestling. And I would say that I think certain people do. Like, I think Cabot is like a kid that wants to wrestle. You know what I mean? He's a weirdo. Hill looks like another kid that is a weirdo that wants to wrestle.
Hill had I don't know if he wanted to wrestle, but he had a fix where he had to hurt people.
Yeah,
wrestling allowed him to do that.
Yeah, my brother falls into that category. He like needed to wrestle. My older brother Nick, he
wrestled with Nick.
Yeah, he found out wrestling. And he was like, "Oh, they'll like let me hurt people." I was like, "Yeah, that's what the sport is." And he's like, "Yeah, I really like this."
You remember Nick, Tom? Nick Billick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's your older brother.
Yeah, he really likes certain people.
Step brother.
Step brother. I remember Nick.
But I've known him since I was like 10.
Yeah.
That's how I learned to wrestle.
Yeah, Nick's good dude.
He was on the LC wrestling, but there's another one, Deary. You know, he seems like one that would.
Oh, Brian especially. Brian has like almost like a borderline murder fix.
Dude, those two would just drink vodka and fist fight in my dining room. I don't know, for like a whole summer. That's like what they did. Yeah. It's just Nick and Brian would just get drunk and beat the shit out of each other. They'd do that cigarette forearm game.
Oh my God.
They're fucking weirdos together, yo.
Well, so that's
Yeah.
the thing is like it is this crazy world wrestling is. And so, you know, I got pretty good at it, I guess. I wasn't like the best, but I was all right. And it taught me a lot. So then I'm like now torn when I have a kid. Like I'm like, oh man, I guess he should wrestle because it's like good for you, but it
Yeah.
fucking sucks. And I know I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to like force him to do it. Like, all right, buddy, like, no, you gotta do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, it
There
sucks.
is
But I
like,
love the sport. I still like I do love the sport. Like I enjoy watching it. I like you know, the NCAA championships and stuff like that. And like I can get into all that. And I do know a good amount about it. But I mean, it's probably changed a lot since we were younger. But we were at a good level of wrestling knowledge as far as like how to wrestle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's a
just-
crazy fucking sport, dude.
there's
It's
so
just
much
crazy
there's a
sport.
lot of positives you get out of it, especially in like the mental aspect of like you're like you can go from like, I mean, I don't know, I feel like without wrestling you could be a real noodle, you know what I mean? Like as far as mentally you're not as strong, and
Right.
like you're physically you're not obviously not as strong. Like it helps develop you as a person a great deal. And like the one-on-one, you need, like, you know, you do need that, and you figure out you're not made glass. Maybe it awakens some things you didn't know about, and it can provide a self-confidence and things like that. There's a ton of positives, but also I mean, it's fucking nuts. It's fucking nuts for
It
sure.
sucks. The grind sucks. It's
yeah.
like, oh man, this fucking practice is brutal, and it's every day. Every day you're just brutal. Like, and that's kind of, I guess we'll get into it later, but that was the beginning of the wrestling thing. It's funny, great life lesson I learned from my first match. So before you wrestle a match, you get very nervous. I don't care who you are. It's like, especially your first one, you get very nervous before the match. You're like butterflies. You don't know what's going to happen,
You
whatever.
feel like you're going to throw up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I
so
pissed and
nerve-wracking.
you're gonna throw up, whatever. So I'm like, there's my first match, and I always just kind of bottled it up and just sat there like, all right, here we go, you know, just wait till the match comes, wait till the match. And you wait fucking hours, and so you're sitting there
How
waiting
could you
for
do,
this
like,
match.
as a parent, like dad watched us go through that, knowing like we had to be like I was 7, you were 9, like
I don't think he was that good dealing with it.
Yeah, our
personally.
parents
but
were
like,
like
but
that,
he
yo.
saw us like because I wouldn't talk. I was like, so like you're just beyond nervous.
But I don't
right?
think he knew like how to help through that situation, because I think he struggled with it.
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm
makes sense.
saying. But like he
No,
struggled
like
with
him
it
personally, he would be all butterflies and stuff like that too, that he would not know how to, you know, get through it, if that makes sense. You just kind of do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It is what it
Yeah.
is.
He would just
You get
say like,
through.
once you get out there, it goes away, which is true. But still,
Yeah, but you
sucks.
don't like maybe keep you preoccupied with some other shit, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
get there and be like, all right, but it's just like this looming thing. You wake up, you know that the match is that day, you know you got to go, you know you're doing this, you know you're doing that, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, here we go. Like
Yeah.
I go fucking fight this kid. So either way, first match, I'm sitting there and I'm like gonna fucking puke my guts out. Finally the match comes after a couple hours, go out on the mat, and immediately when I look at the kid, I go, I'm gonna pin this kid real quick. And so next thing you know, blows a whistle. I pinned him in like 5 seconds. I was like, this is, you know, and it was over. And they're like, the weight is lifted. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like that feeling after you win the match and it's over is like the
Yeah.
best feeling, because
It's a
it's
good
like,
pop.
thank God. So what the lesson was is that sometimes in your mind, you can build these things up to be this terrible, like, oh no, what's going to happen? This is going to be so, like, you're scared or whatever. And then when you get there, it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be.
True.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I can crush it. So that's one of the good things about wrestling. It gives you that like those life lessons to have. So that's what's tough. You know, it's a fucking tough sport, man. It really
Yeah.
is. But so I respect the hell out of it. That's why I guess I enjoy it, but I fucking hated it too. I did not want to do it. I had to do a lot of weight loss. I mean, if we get into my weight loss stories later, I mean, I lost double digits multiple nights in my senior year of high school.
They
So
were the worst.
maybe we'll
That
get
was-
back to that later.
That was brutal stuff. Brutal stuff. Yeah. Dude, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. It's the mental preparation's there. And it's good. It is good for you. But yeah, it is what it is. What are you gonna do?
When I was a lazy kid, I was like, I don't fucking feel like doing this. You know what I mean?
Also, dude, I'll tell you this, right? Like, I still can't, like, I don't know if it's tough, but I'll get like nervous if I listen to the Rocky soundtrack. I still get like that
It's a
feeling.
little tense.
Well, dude, it was every
Start hearing the bells.
Well, eventually I got to a
match,
point
it
where
was eventually we did it so many times that like it was like, all right, I know how this goes. Kind of thing.
Well, you know
Pathologian.
what it was? I
Oblivion?
think I was really like scared. Part of me was of how tired I was going to get. You know what I mean? I knew how exhausted I was going to get. Like when you do a full match, you are exhausted after. It's all, you can't explain it. You think like it's not like the toughest thing ever. It is. And like I remember like, and we would run. I mean, I could run 10 miles, no problem. You know what I mean? Jumping rope, I'd do fucking a million push-ups, sit-ups, blah, blah, and I'd be walking off the mat and I can barely even grip my hands. That's how tired I was.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, it's just like this crazy thing that it's like you knew that was coming and you're like, all right, you just got to like be tougher and get through it. You know what I mean? So eventually you get to the point where your stamina and stuff like that is good enough where you know you're going to be through the match like no problem. And that's when I guess you start to have a little less like you can check that off as something you don't have to worry about. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a crazy sport.
So, all right, I want to get into a little work stuff. So we'll start with some jobs. Your first couple, you worked at Trav's in a place that we've talked about, Travi's Pizzeria. And then you've also worked at a place we talked about on the show before called Casa de Meat.
Yeah.
So
I bust tables and washed dishes at both places. So I was a bus boy and a dishwasher. That was you know, my first, I guess I was a freshman in high school. As soon as I could get a job, I got it. They were like, you turned 13, you can get working papers. And then I did. So that was it.
Mine, when I worked at Casa, I was in 8th grade. And it was all under the table. I didn't even need working papers, which I was like, fucking fine with me.
Well, Travis was the first place I worked, and I needed the working papers.
Yeah, and then eventually we would go to, dude. And I don't know what your experience was, but I fucking hated it. I worked at Dairy. We both worked at Dairy Queen, but you would work at Dairy Queen, and our sister had worked there before us.
Which one?
The one near Yum Yums.
Yeah, the one next
on
to
309.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I knew the owner. Yeah.
The owner was a great guy. This guy named Joe.
I knew the one who
him.
owned the other
Great
one by
dude.
the high school.
He was a great guy. I wonder how he's doing now, but he was a really good guy.
Really good guy.
You know, it was tough then at that point because we had the job, but this is after Dad is sick, and so there was the big problem was getting there. You know, so it was always hard to get there, and we always had to try to get a ride or something like that. And our dad was having seizures all the time. So we were late a lot. And then, you know, it was all right. There's a lot of girls that worked there. So that was cool. I liked, you know, some of those girls in the summer. I worked all summer there. I think I worked the whole summer and had one day off the one year. And then, what was I going to say? And then I went to a concert on that day off and I had a nitrous balloon for the first time and it clicked. Hey, we have a nitrous tank at the back of Dairy Queen. So then I spent the rest of the summer doing nitrous at fucking Dairy Queen. So that was
Must
brilliant.
have been tough to take an order.
No, it was after work. I wouldn't be doing it while I was working.
Yeah. I don't remember. I mean, God, the girls that I worked with there, I don't remember them much, but I don't remember being blown
I forget their names, but there was a couple hot chicks that I worked with.
Yeah, I don't remember it for me, but I honestly, I didn't work there long. I hated it. I absolutely hated it because I was used to like the restaurant Casa where it was like, you know, you could grab some food, like a bread or whatever if you wanted, or a drink. And there it's like they were so anal about like, you know, everything. I don't know. And it was also as a check and it wasn't cash. And I was used to cash. And I was like, fuck this check. I want cash.
Plus, I mean, have you ever seen Matt work at the, you know, it's like the files are in the computer. I'm trying to go through
You
the
really want
drive-thru.
to? All right, 3,000. All right. I don't wanna hear it. So then, okay, you left DQ and you worked at Citizens Bank. how'd that go?
I think, well, you know what's funny is like after we were working at Dairy Queen, probably was there till like, I don't know, 16 maybe. I don't know. And then I forgot to put this on there, but we were working with our dad for a little bit. We were cleaning out houses.
Yeah.
So our Uncle Chaz would buy these
Evicted.
houses and people were evicted, and we'd have to go in and like gut the house of all the stuff. So like there was like
and board them
crackheads
up.
living in
If
these
you ever
houses. Yeah.
seen the houses, like when you go through the row
Yeah.
homes that got boards on the windows, that's what
We
we
can't
would
get
do.
back in.
Yeah.
So we would get in there and like we were using power tools and we were boarding up the stuff, and like we would have fucking trash bags full of garbage, like, you know, crack pipes and fucking porn
Pills
magazines and whatever.
Mattresses.
Yeah, just like shit everywhere. And so we would throw it all out and then board up all the windows. And I mean, this is not in good neighborhoods. We're talking like, you know, shitty neighborhoods.
We
And
had
so-
like a thing too, like a setup where like our dad had put a gun in the bottom of the one tool bucket, and he had a gun on him, and then also we would bring our Rottweiler, and the Rottweiler would
be
sit at the
posted
door.
up out front. At the door.
And if anyone came up, the Rottweiler would go ape shit, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Yeah, all right, this ain't gonna work." And then he would like, you know, and then we would just like, it was disgusting. The house.
Whose
Whose
Rottweiler was it?
It was
What?
ours.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Yeah.
It was
Lizzie.
a
It was
her
a girl.
Her name was Lizzie. She was a vicious dog too. We were not good. We were not good dogs.
You were not close with it.
No.
Well, we were
We were not-
kids. We didn't know any better.
I
Our
had two
parents didn't
German
do too
shepherds
great.
that slept in my bed every night when I was a kid.
No.
No.
Lizzo
No.
didn't sleep in your bed with you?
No,
No,
Lizzie was there at the house. We'd let her out in the yard, and then we'd let her back in, and you know,
She would
feed
eat.
her.
I knew when I was a kid, I knew people who had dogs like that, like dogs that couldn't be around kids. A friend of the show had a kid like that. I had a dog like that.
Our
It
dog
was
wasn't
like
biting anybody. It was
No.
just.
it
looked
was well
vicious.
trained, but like it wasn't. It was
If
it was kept in the basement and trained in German. Like I knew
Yeah.
a couple people had like German shepherds like that, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
It wasn't
Yeah.
like we were taking her for walks. We couldn't. She drug us through the mud one day. Like we
Dude.
were little, and we were like, "Let's take her for a walk." It rained, and literally we come back covered in mud because there was a poodle on the other side of the field that she wanted to kill. And we're like holding on, and like, you know, it just
Yeah.
it was tough.
Yeah.
But you know, that
And
was
then-
us trying to figure out how to fucking raise a Rottweiler at 9 and 7 years old. You
Dude,
know what I mean?
I
Like,
remember
we didn't know what we were doing.
No, I remember one time if you brought another dog around, forget it. But one time this dude comes up with this girl selling Girl Scout cookies, comes up to the door, and he has the dog with him, right? And as soon as like we like open the door, my dog and Lizzie runs out and bites the other dog in the neck. And I was like, yeah, you know, dude. And she would like run away to chase us.
She
like,
would run away every day. Like the door would open and she'd be out and she'd be
Yeah.
gone. And we'd be like, shit. And we'd have to like run after her. And we're like, the dog's out, go get the
Yeah.
dog. Like we legit like, and so like the dog would be out and I'd like, sometimes it was like, you know, fucking herding cat. Like, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it was like, you know, like the things where the cattle comes out and they had to like rope it and get the thing and tie it up.
It's
Like
brutal.
literally, like I remember running down the street, sprinting, and I'm like catching up to her, and I like dive on her, get her, and like tackle her, and was like,
Yeah.
all right, I have the dog, and like grab her by the collar, like we got to get back to the house, we got to go to school.
She had a chain choke collar too. That's how
Yeah.
brutal it was. And like, dude, there was one time where we went to Thanksgiving at my uncle's, and we had like a cage on the side of the house that she stayed in her dog house, right? And she broke out of her pen, we called it, and she chased a jogger across the street, and the jogger had to jump onto the
On the top of a car.
top of another car, and then the police were called, and the police came and it took 4 tranquilizer darts to put her down.
Yeah.
I remember coming back and
90s
like
were
our
awesome.
hockey net was covering up like a big hole on the thing. I was like, who the fuck put my hockey net there?
Yeah, and we're like, don't know that this is insanity. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
this is
Like
normal.
all our neighbors are probably like, what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on at that house?
Dude.
With all
Yeah.
the, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just think like, oh yeah, our dog, you know,
We had a
dogs
couple-
will be dogs.
We
Yeah.
lived in a small twin, and had a 5'8", 130-pound German Shepherd who could leap a 6-foot wooden fence and would go 2 houses down to fuck this other dude's male dog.
Wow.
Like
Prison
had a
yard.
gay
3
dog?
times he had to be like, your giant gay dog is fucking my dog. Can you please stop this? And my father no longer lives there. So I'm the man of I answer the door like, hello. And it's like, your dog is in my backyard fucking my dog. I'm like, I'll be right there, sir. Sorry.
Can
Yeah,
you come
and
get
they're-
this
and, like,
queer
people
shepherd
would
out
talk
of
to
here?
us like I'm a kid, like about the dog, and I'm like, dude, what do you want me to like?
Legit, the dog
I wasn't
weighed more
bigger
than we did.
I wasn't
the
bigger
dog
than
weighed
that
more
dog.
than us.
Yeah, I
I'm
wasn't bigger
10,
than that
10
dog till
years
5th
old,
grade.
man. Like, sorry, I'm trying to get the dog. Like, talk to my parents when they get home.
Yeah. If you can wait 4 hours for them to come home.
I told somebody this story not too long ago. That same dog I'm talking about. Our VCR stops working. My mom like loses her fucking mind, right? Because she like records her fucking shows. Why isn't the fucking VCR working? Takes to a shop, goes to get it repaired. They open it up. There's like crystallized urine inside. Someone's pissed inside the VCR. She comes home. She sits us all down as children and goes, which one of you fucking assholes pissed in the VCR? And we're all like, I love the VCR. It plays Masters of the Universe. It plays Who's Harry Crumb. It plays Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I need the VCR. I'm just as upset. Turns out we figure out like a week later because Baron pisses in that same spot, but the VCR is gone. He's tall enough to piss directly into somehow this like the tape slot into the fucking VCR.
Your dog fucked the VCR.
He would piss into the VCR.
Your dog fucked the VCR, didn't it?
How long was he pissing in there till you guys noticed like
it stopped working? And I guess it like had dried, and whoever my mother took it to was like, there's dried piss in here.
Well, that's what the sign says, right? It's be kind, piss in this VCR.
My God. All right. Well, either way. All right, so you're working at Citizens Bank. How did that go? You didn't work there long.
Like we were there for a while, and then like,
how old were you? And they let you work in a bank?
No. This was later. Okay. This was after like we were doing odds and ends. Like that's the thing. Like we get into high school, and then like my, probably like senior year, junior year, whatever, wrestling started to get pretty serious, like really serious. Like the schedule was ridiculous. My senior year of wrestling was we'd wake up and we had morning practice before school. School started at 7:22 or something like that. So we'd have morning practice at 6 a.m. right? Then we'd have to go to school. We go to school, then we have practice after school. Then we have practice, then we get home. Then we would drive to Lehigh to go to wrestling practice later at night. And then we'd come home. We'd get home at 11 o'clock at night. And then we'd wake up and do the same thing the next morning. And this was for like 4 months straight. Like this was like for a long period of time. I mean, it just fucking burned us out. And I was just like, dude, I didn't think about it then, but I was just like, I was exhausted. I was hungry as shit. I was thirsty. And how am I supposed to get any fucking homework done when this is all going on? You know what I mean? Not to mention we have the most fucking brutal workouts ever. You know what I mean?
Football fucking sucked, but they fed you like maniacs because they wanted you to bulk up, where you guys are the opposite. Like work twice as hard as the football kids. Oh, and don't fucking eat.
Yeah.
The not eating you get used to. It's when you can't have water. That's
is
really bad.
Yeah. No drinking is rough for a couple days if you have to do it and you're working out.
Good fighters don't deserve water. Or no, that's good fighters don't need water. Bad fighters don't deserve water.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Well, so then I leave.
You would get through high school and stuff.
Going through high school, and that I get, I was like, all right, let me get a job. And I think my sister was working at Citizens Bank. And so I applied there, got the job at Citizens Bank, and I started working as like a teller for a little bit at the bank.
How long were you there?
Maybe half a year or so.
How'd you like it?
It was boring. It was cool. Like I wore a tie to work every day. Like it was kind of professional, I guess, I like math, so I was doing it, but like a lot of times you're just sitting there, you're waiting for people to come give it, you put it in, you account for it.
How filthy is money? Like, did your hands feel filthy afterwards? Like,
this is like pre-hand sanitizer, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like anything like that. So yeah, I guess it was pretty nasty, but I didn't really think about it back then. I was just basically getting high every night, trying to wake up, go to work, struggle through work, wake up and do the same thing over and over. And I was getting a paycheck. That was cool. And then on the weekends, we go to parties at college.
Yeah. And then after you left Citizens Bank, like I know you worked in restaurants before, but then you would work at this place in jdub. You probably remember it, the Ground Round. Remember the Ground Round?
Fucking
Loved the Ground Round.
Had a TV, like a projector screen, had a mini
Yeah.
arcade.
Oh, Ground Round
I
was
think
great.
my parents got thrown out of there one time for getting drunk and into a fist fight as a child, and I
Nice.
loved the Ground Round.
Is
Didn't
that
even
when they
love it.
weighed the kids and you paid
Yeah.
like their
Pay
weight?
your weight.
No wonder our dad would have us cutting weight.
Dude, but so there's a big difference when working in a restaurant as like a 13-year-old busboy as opposed to now you're like a 19, 20-year-old waiter, right? There's a
Right.
huge difference. So this was kind of like your first kind of dive into the restaurant industry as a pseudo adult.
Is this the
how did
Montgomeryville
it
Ground
go?
Round?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah, baby.
Hell yeah.
Fuck
Mhm.
yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. How? Yeah. Do you remember when it died? Because when did it go away?
I wasn't there when it died.
All right.
It was dying when I was
Yeah.
there, believe me. It
'Cause
was a crazy fucking
by the
like
time you were working there, I remember going there in 1995. Like that's the memory I'm speaking of. Like by the time you're
Yeah.
working there, it's probably
2000.
I met a lot of
2003.
cool people there.
I remember
Um,
the stories you would tell me.
well, I was gonna
thinking
say,
like, because I
Mike
remember
Kelly got me a job
Yeah,
there.
love
He also
Mike.
got me the job at Travis.
Mike's a great dude.
yeah,
Fan of
he
the
was
show,
cool.
listener to the show.
And then who else would work there? There was this one kid, I forget his name.
Didn't two
redhead.
like
He was
like
cool.
I don't know. I remember you telling me the stories like
One
when
cook.
we were working at like Casa and you were working at Travis and stuff like like those were just like normal spots. This place had like a bar and shit got kind of nutty. And I remember you telling me like the restaurant like you like going to a restaurant was still very like a big thing. Like, and then you started working in this place. I was like, oh, this shit goes on at restaurants. And the stuff you would tell me, I'm like, oh my fucking God, this is nut,
I'm trying to think of like what was like the nuttiest shit that happened there, but like it was just a mess. When I like look back and I think about that place, like there was just really no real leadership. Everybody was kind of just like the general managers there were just chain smoking cigarettes. You could still smoke inside at that
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
and playing like the Touch Tunes game, or they had a game Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah.
That was pretty
yeah.
popular, but
Yeah.
it was good because I made good money and I had like good cash, afterwards. Like when I was leaving, I was like always making good money. And so I was like, all right, this is cool. Like I'm paying the bills. Still, I think my license was suspended at that point. So I didn't have a car. So that was kind of pain in the ass. So getting there
Yeah.
was kind of rough. I'm trying to think, when did I move to, maybe that was it. I'm trying to think. And we were partying every night at the house. Like we were partying
Yeah.
every night at my house. So
Yeah.
I wasn't 21 yet. I think I was like 18 or 9. I think it was 19 when I was working there.
Yeah.
And I worked there for like, probably about like a 6 months or something like that, or 8 months or something.
Okay.
And had some good times. People would party afterwards.
Yeah.
There was some young ladies that worked there that were pretty cool too. And
Yeah. Pretty cool.
I think I was still trying to figure out my stuff, what was going on, where I was headed, and what I was
Sure.
doing. I was just partying
So
nonstop.
You would that was a big party time. Plus two, it's like, God, being that age too and like partying and just like days and days and days in a row with no effect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like nothing like if I partied 3 days in a row right now, I would legit fucking die. And I
Yeah.
probably want to kill myself because how fucking much I feel like shit. But back then it was just like fucking party hard, work all day, party fucking harder, It was just awesome. But then after you got done at Ground Round, you went and worked at, and I've talked about this place before on the show, and I actually clipped it and it did well, but Okemo Mountain. So what were you doing at Okemo? And it's in Killington, Vermont. Is that right?
No, Killington is another ski resort. It was in
Burlington?
Ludlow.
Hey.
Ludlow, Vermont. So I mean, short story long, I had taken acid and I was at my mom's house, and this is after partying for about 2 years straight. At my mom's. I mean, we were partying like every night. And so
my mom was like newly kind of single in the dating world, so she was like doing her thing,
and she was working a bunch of jobs and like
Yeah.
just trying to like
and going to school.
survive.
Yeah.
So I had taken acid and I was I was fucked up. And my one friend was driving around. I'm like, how are you driving? Like, I can't see. Like, I was like tunnel vision. Like, I couldn't see like everything. I was like, dude, like, how are you driving? Like, we're gonna crash. Like, what do you like? I gotta get back to my house. So I get back to my house and I'm just sitting there like, like, what am I doing? So I just started like cleaning the house and I'm like in the basement. My mom comes home and she's like, so how was your day? And blah, blah. She's trying to talk to me and I'm fucking like trying to play Madden on like the Xbox and like I'm not making and like I'm just like trying to like get by like whatever like. And so at that moment I just remember feeling like so ashamed of like what I was doing, like what's going on. I'm like trashing this house, like not like helping my mom at all or anything like that. And here's this lady that's like working all these jobs and trying to like better her life and take care of these kids, and I'm like just fucking off all the time.
Yeah.
So she like goes upstairs and like I had this like there's like this debate to God and the devil are trying to get me to like join their side in my head, right? So I'm like debating, like they're like, well, if you come over here, you could get this, and that. I'm like, well, that's a pretty good point, devil. That's like, God, what do you have to offer over here? And they're like trying to like give me. So eventually I chose God, and I decided to clean the whole house. And like I cleaned it like spotless. Like I'm telling you, like I took the drapes down and wiped shit off and like cleaned it. Like it was insane what I was doing. And so I cleaned the whole house spotless, and I wake my mom up at like 4:30 in the morning, like, Mom, you're not gonna believe this. Look at this. And she's like, what? And so I go downstairs and she like comes down. She's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I cleaned the whole house, Mom. I cleaned the whole house. She's like, wow, like, are you okay? Like, what is happening? And so I'm like, nothing.
She had to know.
So then I like go upstairs and like there's a room and I'm like, look, and then like I pulled like I had a curtain set up and I pulled back the one curtain and all my like bongs and bowls and like all that other shit is sitting there. I'm like, look, I put all my bongs like right here. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, what if your cousins see that? And I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's why I have the curtain here, whatever. So I, a couple days later, my friend's like, yo, I think I'm going to go up to Vermont and work on this ski resort if you want to go. And I moved out and I was like, man, I'm not like, that was like my goal, never to be a burden to my mom ever again after that day. So I've probably been a little bit of a burden since then, but majority, I would say, no, I'm not a burden anymore. So that was the goal. So then I moved up to Vermont and worked on a ski resort as a lift jockey.
And how'd that go?
Lift jockey was cool. It was kind of my scene. We were partying still. We would smoke weed. We hung out with these Australians that partied like maniacs. And we had the weed room, and like that was when I was first introduced to vegetables. I was out on my own and I started eating vegetables because it was free.
I remember you called me. You're like, dude, I mean, eggplant and zucchini and like all this stuff. I'm like, oh wow. He's like, oh, it's awesome. I was like, yeah, what the fuck is that?
I'm like, yeah, this isn't bad at all. It's free, so I'll eat it. It was like vegetable soup, and I was like, vegetable soup before. I was like, ugh, fuck that. If there's not cheese and meat in it, I don't want any of that crap.
Yeah.
But
you're on your own. You're like, I'm fucking stopped.
One thing that happened up there is I was doing a lift jockey, and we had the high speed metal lifts, and so it's not like the most difficult job, but it is physically, and you have to be like on your things because people are sliding down onto the thing, and you've got to like what you do is they call you bump the chair, so it's coming around, you bump it, and then so that it's swinging back by the time people are getting onto the chair. If you don't bump it, it's just gonna whack them. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's gonna hit them hard. So I got 4 people on at a time. And so like this family's up next. I'm like, all right, you're up next. You got to get on the red line. And so then I bump the chair. I get the one family up. And so now you got 15 seconds to get on that red line. So they go down on the red line. I turn, I bump the chair. I look back and this fucking idiot is now going down in front, like on the group. And I'm like, don't go to the red line. Like I hit the thing. I like jump and I hit the fucking like the emergency stop. I hit the emergency stop. Well, it wasn't in time. Like I hit it, the chair comes by, takes out this one guy, pushes him. He slides into the family, knocks all them down, and the chair whacks all these people. And I'm talking a high speed metal fucking lift chair. It hit this kid in the face, the little kid, and he's bleeding out of his face everywhere. And he's like, I'm sorry. do that. He was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I told you to stay behind the fucking line. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, dude, like, what are you doing? And so, like, just totally not paying attention to anything. So now there's blood all over the place. You know, the kid ended up being okay. Just had like a busted lip, like no stitches or anything like that. Just was a good amount of blood. And what was funny is like the rest of the day, people are going by and there's just like blood, like sitting because it's in the snow, you know? So like it wasn't the rest of the day, but it was for a little bit. And then eventually we like stopped it, got a shovel and like, all right, let's clear this blood up. So everyone that goes on this lift isn't like, this is a terrible thing. We're all going to die.
Yeah. I remember, I went up to visit you when it was New Year's up there, and it was a pretty wild scene. But I remember I was dating someone at the time, and they were in college, and I wasn't. They had come home from college, and we had plans to like go not babysit, but like we would be like the older kids watching the younger kids on like a New Year's, you know what I mean? But it was kind of just be like us hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
And Ricky had hit me up the day before and he's like, yo, I'm going up to Vermont. Do you want to come with me? I was like, bro, I have like no money. I have no job. I have barely any clothes. And he's like, yeah, dude, he's like, don't worry. I'll pay. I want someone to come with me. I don't want to ride alone. And I was like, all right, I'll go with you. Like we partied the night before and everything like that. And I didn't sleep. And then he came and picked me up like bright and early. And then like we went and I didn't have a cell phone. So like my girl at the time was like, where the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Like didn't know where I was and like all this stuff. I was like, all right, so I went to Vermont. And she's like, but what about the fucking New Year's party? I was like, well, I guess that's not happening. You know what I mean? And then, and I went to Vermont and I remember we had like a rager up there. That place was fucking cool. But
that's kind of what happened with Mom too. When like I moved to Vermont, I didn't like really tell anybody I was moving to Vermont. I just moved there. Yeah. And then like a week later, it was like, Tom lives in Vermont.
There was a thing they told me that they did like where the ski lift, like everyone went down the ski.
Oh yeah, that was cool with the
flares.
With the flares. And so like everyone would get a flare and you would go to the top of the mountain. And then like once you got off the lift, you just light your flare and you ski down the mountain or snowboard or whatever you did. And it looked like it was like it looked like a volcano erupting. It looked really cool. Like, and it just lit up the whole mountain. It was like pretty cool thing, you know, and you're all fucking high. Like everyone smoked weed up there and like drank and whatever. City. So but besides snowboarding and skiing, which is awesome, there was like really nothing else to do. So once you like got past, and I wasn't even 21 yet, and like I was trying to sneak into these bars. It was always a pain in the ass because I felt like a douchebag trying to get into these bars that like all my friends were going to, but I wasn't 21. And like they're like, oh, we can get you in, but like then you're sitting there like, all right, am I gonna get in trouble? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because like I can just drink at home. I don't need to be here, you know. I don't want to get yelled at for having a couple beers. But so we were like smoking.
How long were you there?
Probably like a season, you know what I mean? So
what's that, like 2 months?
It was probably more like maybe three months. Yeah, we were smoking like, and that was one of the best times when we get to the bottom of the thing. They would have us jump on a snowmobile and they would take us to the top of the mountain and be like, all right, you're working here, and you would just snowboard down to wherever you worked. And like I was high as shit. I had like, I think like my iPod or whatever at the time, and I would just like snow down. It'd be snowing. It was really like this religious experience, like just literally by myself on the mountain, snowboarding down while it's lightly snowing. Everything's covered in snow, listening to whatever Sublime or whatever I was listening to, and just being like, this is heaven, you know, like this is great. So I would suggest that. It was a cool job. It was kind of laid back area.
Vermont.
Different people, but kind of cool.
Yeah. All right. So Tom, I know you're in Vermont now. We're at the story where you're in Vermont, but we've talked enough. And you're coming back. You'd be coming back to PA. But what I want to do is we're going to have you on again, and we're going to finish the Tom Lavelle saga. Alex got 4 episodes, so you should at least get 2. But I'm going to book you again.
I just kind of want to recap the first year and a half of the show again. If we could do that,
I mean,
like
that's-
that would be great.
We've been
Yeah, 'cause I
asking
don't-
for that for sure. Everyone's been asking.
Who was the
for
third guest?
that.
Guess number 4 was.
Yeah. The first 3 were Burn, Burn, Jill, and Jay, and then Pete was the 4th.
And the
fifth.
lost episode of Bach.
Yeah.
And
Don't
the
forget
lost
that.
episode of Bach, and then God.
Oh Jesus, I was joking. I really don't want to recap all this shit.
Okay. So then, Tom. So yeah, we're leaving off there of you being in Vermont. So when you come back on the show, we'll start with you coming back to PA and living in Roxborough and go from there. But before we leave, I do want to talk more about the Tom Lavelle show. So do you have another story or kind of thing that you can share with us that we can expect to hear on the Tom Lavelle show?
So the one day I was working and this guy called Kensington Rich comes in and he goes, Tommy, your kid eat Cheerios? And I'm like, yeah, he eats Cheerios. Sure. He's like, I got something for you. I'm like, all right, whatever. So he goes to his car, he comes back and he's got 2 boxes of Cheerios. He's got a fucking Cheerios and a Honey Nut Cheerio. He goes, here, this is for your kid. I'm like, all right. I was like, yeah, dude, you don't have to buy my kid fucking Cheerios. You know what I mean? Like, I can get Cheerios, but it's not a big deal. And he's like, don't worry about it. I got a guy. I was like, what? A guy, a Cheerio guy? I was
got
like,
a
you have
General Mills
Cheerio
guy.
Yeah. I was like, all right, like, thank you so much, Rich. I appreciate that so much. So grateful for you feeding my child with these Cheerios.
Yeah.
I just have different stuff that goes on, stories that I tell like that that happen that make me laugh. Throughout the year, things pop up and we start debating them at the bar, kind of like on this show when you say, what do you like better, drumsticks or flats, or whatever the question is, or we talk about a show or a movie or what's going on, and I just kind of do that on my show, give you my opinion on it, and try to make you laugh a little bit. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you like it. And each episode, you never know, it might be the last one. So
yeah.
Living on the razor's edge. I like it. I like Tom. You'll like the show. Sounds like
it is good. And like we said, in the description of this episode, there'll be a link. So I highly suggest you check it out. It's really, really good stuff. Really big fan. But we're coming to the top of time, Tom. So before we get out of here, is there anything you want to say to the Captain Jerkbeard fanatics before we get out of here?
If you've made it this far, I appreciate you listening, and hopefully we can get the part 2 going, part 2 of the Tom Lavelle saga.
Wow.
But I appreciate being on the show. Thank you for letting me promote my show, and it's been fun talking to you schlubs, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I agree. This was good. It was fun. A lot of stuff too that we got into that I didn't even expect to get into, but it was good. It was fun stuff. So nice. All right. Well, very good. Jalen Dahoo. What do you got to say to the Dub Nation before we get the hell out of here?
I'm hyped to listen to the Tom Lavelle show when I go to work tomorrow morning.
Hey,
yeah, I think he's got, what do you got, like 9 episodes up right now, Tom?
I think 10.
As of recording.
Well, and I'm posting a new one. Once we get off here, I'm gonna post the other one. So
I'll just start firing off my opinions of it as I go throughout the
morning.
morning.
Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, Justin.
Show.
JW, you're gonna have to find it on YouTube and the TikTok.
I can find it on YouTube. I can do it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Tom Lavelle Show.
Nice. All right. Well, speaking of the Tom Lavelle Show, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by Jalen Dub, Justin Richardson, and Captain Jerkbeard, Tom Lavelle. You can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast, and you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe so we can keep this party going, and we'll still be here, and Tom can do his part too. This has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast. Thanks for listening. Stick around for the ad read. Thanks. See you. Do you have a message or a story inside of you that you've been waiting to tell? Have you always dreamed of writing a book, but are intimidated by the complexities of the book publishing world? Perhaps you want to use a book to launch your public speaking or consulting career. If so, please reach out to Scott and Bell Publishing, located right here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Scott and Bell Publishing handle all genres and authors with all experience levels. Scott and Bell Publishing gives authors 100% creative freedom and a higher royalty split. They can be found at www.skotbell.com. That's www.s as in Sam, K as in Kite, O as in October, T as in Tom, B as in Boy, E as in Edward, L as in Larry, L as in Larry.com. That's Scott and Bell Publishing, where the authors go.